Gentle snow rested upon the Wasatch Mountains that April of 1987 as warm electric lights illuminated the streets of Salt Lake City. Through the window of our small apartment, I could see the striking contrast between the whiteness decorating the mountain peaks and Utah's deep blue skies. I had been in this foreign city for almost 2 years now, far from home, just me and my 12-year-old son, two lonely Israelis in the heart of snow-covered America. My son sat at our simple wooden kitchen table, his head bent over his English homework. Sometimes I would catch his gaze drifting toward the window, longing for the friends he left behind in Israel, for his grandparents, for the scent of an Israeli spring. His pain was also mine. I had chosen to bring us here for my academic career, a postdoctorate in chemistry, but the price was a loneliness that sometimes seemed unbearable. We lived modestly, in the way that only student life in a foreign country can be. Our small apartment was furnished with a mixture of second-hand items purchased from local charity shops, and we decorated the bare concrete walls with pictures from Israel that we had brought with us, a view of Jerusalem, the Sea of Galilee at sunset, and a few family photographs, a small attempt to create a piece of home within the foreignness. At the university laboratory, it was Leah who extended a warm hand to me. A petite woman with short brown hair and intelligent brown eyes, she spoke with a perfect American accent. Leah was the cantor's wife in the local Jewish community, in the synagogue, a place almost completely hidden within the predominantly Mormon city. She worked as a permanent researcher in the department, and I soon found myself sharing lunches with her, talking about our research, about Israel, about our children. The connection between us was natural, like finding a lost sister in the heart of the desert. Days passed, and spring approached. Gray clouds melted in the sky, and the snow on the mountains turned into thin strips of white. One day, Leah placed her hand on my shoulder. "You know, Passover is coming," she said with a broad smile. "I'm inviting you and your son to our Passover dinner." I felt excitement and unrest simultaneously. The Passover Seder had always been a family event for me, a gathering of relatives around one table. What would the Seder be like here, so far from everything I knew? What were the customs? Would it be too different? "Thank you very much," I replied to Leah, feeling warmth spreading in my chest. "We'd love to come." In the days before the holiday, I started to get excited. I wanted my son to feel the connection to our roots, the sense that even when we are alone, we are part of something bigger. One evening, I asked him if he remembered the Passover dinner in Israel. "I remember how Grandpa used to hide the afikoman," he smiled, and there was something childlike in the way light returned to his eyes, and how I never got to sing Chad Gadya because it was too late at night. "Well, this time we'll see how they do Passover Seder in America," I said, placing my hand on his. 2 days before Passover, I decided I couldn't arrive empty-handed. That's not how I was raised. In Israel, we always brought a gift to our hosts, no matter how small. On a sunny morning, I took the car downtown Salt Lake City, to one of the large department stores. I had never been to one like it before, and I was stunned by the size, the abundance, the sterile cleanliness, and the gleam pouring from every corner. In Israel of those days, there were no such shopping centers. I wandered among the full shelves, feeling small and foreign, the prices too high for my modest budget. I walked through the housewares department, my fingers carefully caressing crystal glasses, decorated plates, feeling like a child in a museum, afraid to touch the works of art. I wanted something festive, but practical, something that would please Leah, that she would use and think of me. And then, in a distant corner, my eyes fell upon an elegant serving set in a delicate azure shade with silver decorations. There was something almost hypnotic about the way light broke across the porcelain surface. A complete set of bowls, platters, and serving dishes, with a price far beyond my means. But one small bowl, perfect for serving hot side dishes. Perhaps I could afford that. When I placed the bowl on the cashier's counter, my heart was beating strongly. It was more than I had planned to spend, but something inside me insisted this was the right gift. The saleswoman wrapped it in tissue paper and ribbon, and I felt the importance of the moment, of bringing a piece of elegance into our modest lives here. Passover evening arrived with skies washed in a rosy golden light. My son and I dressed in our finest clothes, he in a buttoned shirt I had bought on sale and ironed carefully, and I in a simple dress, the only festive item I had brought from Israel. In my hand I held the gift, and my son asked if he could carry it. "Of course," I smiled, "you can present it." We arrived at Leah's house in the evening. The house was in one of the pleasant neighborhoods of the city, a red brick home with a small, well-tended garden. We could already hear the sounds of conversation and singing coming from inside. Had I brought the right gift? Would we behave appropriately? Concerns filled my head. The door opened, and Leah stood there, her face radiant in the light of the holiday candles, dressed in a floral dress. "Welcome to our home!" she called joyfully, embracing me and my son. "Come inside." My son presented her with the wrapped gift, and she looked at us in surprise. "What's this?" she asked curiously. "It's a small gift for the holiday," I replied with an apologetic smile. "In Israel, we always bring something to our hosts on Seder night." She smiled. "That's not so common here," she explained gently. "During Hanukkah, we exchange gifts because of the proximity to Christmas, but during Passover... But this is a pleasant surprise." I felt a blush rising to my cheeks. "I'm sorry. I didn't know," I mumbled. "Don't worry." Leah placed a hand on my arm. "It's very nice of you. Let's go in. We'll open it inside." The house was filled with candlelight, and the aromas of home cooking filled the air, a mixture of familiar and unfamiliar scents. In the living room, several people were already seated, local Jews who lived in the city, nodding their heads toward us with a smile. The smell of Passover's food, even from a distance, evoked in me a longing for home, a sense of belonging I hadn't felt for a long time. Leah carefully opened the elegant packaging and then froze in place. Her face changed from curiosity to absolute shock. I feared that perhaps I had brought something inappropriate, perhaps simply not to her taste. "What's wrong?" I asked worriedly. "Come with me for a moment," she said quietly, taking my hand and gently pulling me toward the dining room. The table was set elegantly. Silver candles glowed in soft light, shining silverware, crystal wine glasses, and decorated china plates. But what caused my heart to stop was the sight of the serving set, exactly the same pattern, the same azure color with silver decorations that I had seen in the store. "Leah," I whispered, "I can't believe it. It's exactly the same set." She nodded, her eyes glistening with tears of excitement. "Not only that," she said in a slightly trembling voice, "but just yesterday I told my husband that we were missing exactly a small bowl for serving hot rice, exactly the one you brought." We stood there, two women next to a holiday table, thousands of kilometers from home, feeling the deep connection that linked us, not just as Jewish women, but as human beings whom Providence connects in wonderful ways. "How did you know?" Leah whispered. "Are you sure you weren't here before?" "No, I swear," I replied, my voice trembling with excitement. I just chose what looked beautiful to me." Leah's husband, David, a tall, thin man with a well-groomed beard and an embroidered kippah, joined us. "What's happening here? Is everything all right?" Leah explained to him the small wonder that had occurred, and he smiled broadly. "That's divine providence," he said simply. "Welcome to our home. Now I'm sure this Seder will be special." As we sat around the table, my son and I among people we were meeting for the first time, I felt a strange warmth in my heart. The Haggadahs to read from were in Hebrew and English, and the familiar words touched me like an old friend. We were slaves to Pharaoh in Egypt. As David led the Seder, I looked around at the strange faces that became illuminated in the warmth of the candles. People who came from different backgrounds, from different communities, found themselves united around this ancient ritual. They sang the songs familiar to me from my childhood, Ma Nishtana, Dayenu, Chad Gadya, some in English and some in Hebrew, but the melodies were the same melodies. My son sat beside me, his eyes sparkling, joining in the singing, eager to find the afikoman at the end of the evening. I saw him integrating, connecting, laughing with Leah and David's children as if he had known them all his life. And in one magical second, as we raised our wine glasses together in blessing, I felt a sense of calm and gratitude washing over me. We were not alone. Even here at this moment in Salt Lake City, we were part of a community, part of a tradition, part of a broad and great story that has continued for thousands of years. It was a slight touch of providence, a gentle vibration of divine grace that led me to choose precisely that bowl, which completed Leah and David's table. As if some hidden hand had sent me, a stranger in a strange city, to a part of myself that waited for me somewhere on the other side of the world. And on that night, under the Utah skies, I felt at home.